This is my epoxy composites kitchen. I've got the resin and hardener. This happens to be a 5:1 mixing ratio, so I've got different options available to me for mixing. I can either use these pumping dispensers, 5 pumps, 1 pump, and I can make small quantities and know that my ratio is correct. However, it's easy to lose count with these low volume pump dispensers. Then it's easier to rather mix large volumes by pouring directly into the mixing cup using a kitchen scale, noting that the mixing ratio by weight might differ slightly. And then lastly, for in between quantities, I also have the option using these convenient bottles to access the epoxy with a syringe and once again measure small volumes very accurately and mix according to that. Now, another important aspect of using epoxy is all the different fillers available. This is micro glass balloons. It looks like just a white powder, but if you do a Google search for what these actually look like under an electron microscope, you'll see it is literally a small hollow glass bubble, which gives it quite a lot of bulk but not a lot of strength, and it has the ability to give you very nice smooth smearing property, which gives you smooth fillets. This is another white fluffy powder called Cabosil. It's also a bulking agent, and it has the additional property of creating almost bit of a gel-like consistency to your mixture. So you can mix an epoxy that's not too dry, but it won't run, so you can apply it to inclined or even vertical faces. Now, just to give you an idea of exactly how light this stuff is, this big tub over here is 300 grams, so just more than, what's that, about 11 ounces. When you open this lid, you just see a big puff of powder climbing out. Then the more structural fillers, this is cotton flocks. I have found that it tends to absorb moisture, so important to try and keep this dry. Otherwise, when you mix large quantities and pour thick fillets, then the heat given off as the epoxy cures turns that moisture into steam, and you end up with a very porous fillet. And then you have normal sawdust or wood flour. I collect this from the bottom of my bandsaw. I try and keep the different wood species sawdust apart. This allows me to mix different colors if I need to, and these also tend to have slightly different textures, with spruce giving you a longer fiber and a more coarse texture to your filler.